Welcome back to the weekly news roundup. This is the privacy edition. So let's go ahead and jump right on into these news articles for the day. So first we're going to look at the ACLU is trying to block facial recognition at airports. So of course we reported, I think it was last week, on Australia. In some places in Australia, they're saying, hey, let's just do away with all these boarding passes and use facial ID instead. So this way you can do away with all the extra paperwork stuff, scan your face, yeah, you're on the list, let's go. And there's something about this that you can understand, but on the other hand, it's quite dystopian. And the fact that all of these companies and governments and all these are carrying and having all of these facial recognition databases is certainly an interesting thing. Makes me wonder, should I even put my face on switchedtolinux anymore? But anyway, let's just go ahead and keep going. This is actually on the verge of where I think it was in 96, a law was passed looking at doing biometrics on people leaving the country. And this was expanded to people coming into the country, I think, last year. And so now international travel of some form or another generally is requiring some form of biometrics involving face IDs and things. The problem that the ACLU argues is that this is a slippery slope leading to normalization of facial recognition, which will thus lead to the expansion of it everywhere. Ergo, what is going on in Australia, which is domestic and international flights, to my understanding. And this is really a factor that we're seeing where they're fighting against this, and it's something that needs to be fought against. We don't need all of this stuff coming on down the pipeline at all times. I think that there is something to be said for limiting the use of this type of technology. Of course, in Massachusetts, we talked about right after the election, the citizens voted and said, no, we don't want the police using facial ID. And the governor said, nah, I'm vetoing that. I don't care what you little peasants happen to vote for. I'm not signing that into law. Just an FYI, guys, the problems we are having in politics are going to stay as long as you keep on voting people back into office, okay? If you want to see change, you got to vote the morons out and then tell them why you're voting them out so the new morons coming in can actually do something different. Okay, Alcoholics Anonymous. You can't keep doing the same thing and expecting different results. Stop voting these people into office. Maybe we should encourage other better people to stand up and try and run for office, but that's kind of the problem. It's like, nobody wants it except the scum. So anyway, that's a little bit. Of course, they're also saying that the appointment of the DHS security, Chad Wolf, was actually unconstitutional as well. So they have that as well. So they're basically just attacking this on multiple different fronts. More government news. U.S. government is targeting cryptocurrency to expand the reach of its financial surveillance. So the idea here is that they are trying to basically trying to monitor all of the cryptocurrencies as well. There's some really bad stuff in here. And I'm not much into crypto at this point in time. It's something I'd like to get a little bit more into. But I would love to see, I don't know, if TechLore, if you're watching this, I'd love to see your take on this as well. One of the biggest things that this is doing, that the government is doing, is requiring extra stuff on private wallets. So in other words, if you're going to be storing any of your Bitcoins or any other cryptocurrencies on a private wallet, in order to interface that private wallet with any form of exchange outside of that private wallet, the person connecting to your private wallet for the transaction, be that a cryptocurrency exchange or any other service, has to collect personally identifiable information. And it's a really stupid idea for us to be throwing our ID all over the place. I did a brief discussion on Upwork not too long ago because I'm like, let's go ahead and try this out. So they waited, I created an account 6 weeks into it. I finally get a person that says, hey, sure, I'll hire you. We'll get to work. So I did several hours of work. Right about the time we're sending our final invoice, Upwork's like, hey, you got to send me your ID. Like, screw you. I'm not sending you my ID. And so I end up closing out the account, tell them, nope, zero out the invoice, and hey, you get some free work. Well, he actually paid me outside of Upwork for that. But that's the thing. We've got to take the stand back and say, no, you're not a bank, okay? Oh, we got to worry about fraud. You're sending it to my bank, okay? My bank has verified my information. I'm okay with my bank verifying my information. What we don't need is to be sending all of our ID to every company under the goddamn planet. Okay? This is insane. This is absolutely insane. And that's what their current laws are trying to do. So they have a statement down here. Other concerning developments include the Fifth Circuit's decision that law enforcement does not need a warrant to obtain financial transaction data from cryptocurrency exchanges, and FinCEN's proposal to lower the threshold, which at current institutions must collect and store transactional data from $3,000 down to $250. So anything over a $250 transaction in cryptocurrency, they have to collect personally identifiable information. That means, hey, sending your photo ID with all of the information you need to steal your identity to every company under the sun. That's what this is turning into, people. It's what this is turning into. We've got to take a stand. And so if this ends up going through and I'm going to have to send my driver's license to any and every company I want to interface with, I might be out on crypto for a while. But this is definitely an interesting read. They did look at a few different other areas, but this is really a dangerous thing that even if you're trying to use a private offline wallet, you still have to provide that information to anybody you're interfacing that with. This is a huge thing, and we need to take a stand to protect this, because I think cryptocurrency is where we probably need to go in a digital type economy. But the way that they're doing this, man, this is more dangerous than a credit card. This is insane. At least when I use my credit card, I don't have to give Walmart my photo ID, okay? Kyrgyzstan spies on its citizens' HTTPS traffic, but the browsers are fighting back. So the Kyrgyzstan government is requiring all citizens to install basically a rootkit that will provide the government a man-in-the-middle attack on a variety of websites. And I wonder how long has this been going in place, because we got down through here, we got plus.google.com. That died a while ago. Is Picasa still around? I'm not sure. So there's a lot of things in here that we can see where they're trying to get in the middle, and they're trying to harness all the information. DNS lookups from Google. So what they're trying to do is they're trying to spy on their citizens. Now the browsers are fighting back, and while the citizens are installing it, the browsers are allowing the any of these installed rootkit type things to just be bypassed. So, and all of the major browsers are fighting against this. So it's kind of interesting to see what's going on, but this is the world we're getting to, where anything and everything you do on the internet, they're trying to spy on and track back to every single individual citizens. And of course, Nigeria does not want out of this, because by the end of the year, I really think it's December 31st, Nigeria orders all mobile users to be linked to their national ID. This is like in the United States, forcing your social security number to be linked with your cell phone. Now, some of you guys, when you're leasing out your phones and stuff, you're giving your social security number to them anyway. Oh, we got to do a credit check on you because you're leasing a $1,000 phone. Guys, just buy something that you can afford. Okay, you don't need to do payments on your phone. But this is effectively what it is that all phone numbers of any form have to be tied to the government-issued ID. That's exactly what they're doing. And that is a little bit on the crazy and dystopian side. So this does away with all burner phones. It does away with going into the Wally world, picking up a burner phone with cash. So this is not something that we're seeing in the United States yet, but be assured, once it starts to spread around to a couple countries, it's going to start spreading around to the rest of the world. So we need to take a stand against this kind of stuff. Now, the cell phone companies over there are like, dude, we don't have enough time to implement this. And so they're asking them to put off the requirement for another 6 weeks. But still, as it is right now, the last information I have, December 31st, your national ID has to be tied to your cell phone carrier or to your cell phone number in Nigeria. Yay for more data collection and government dystopian spying on us. Just a brief update. Windows Hello is now being used by 84% of morons. No, excuse me. So Windows 10 users, now 84% of them are saying Windows Hello is being used. This is the thing that allows Windows to log you in utilizing biometric trackers. I would advise turning this completely off. While they do say that everything stays on the device, it's Microsoft and Windows is already collecting an abundance of extra data. I don't think I believe that. So that is really that's really what we have to look at and consider. So if you are using any of these Windows Hello fingerprints, the Hello face, that's creepy. Even this little picture is creepy. Look at this little black smile. It's like a Cheshire cat peeking out through Windows saying, "What are you doing today?" And, use security keys, pins, passwords. Just don't use biometric stuff to log into Windows. Oh, well, Andrew Yang, he is calling for proof of vaccination VARs on our foreheads and right hand, on our smartphones. And so the idea here is that if you get the vaccine, you have to prove it by having your phone. Of course, what we know so far, the vaccine, you still have to wear a mask. You still have to socially distance. You still have to participate in the dystopian lockdowns and all this other kind of stuff. So it begs this question, what the hell are we getting vaccinated for again? Look, the side effect rates are worse than getting the disease for the vast majority of people. I kid you not, guys. So go to the CDC's website. Look into actual data. It's very interesting. Dig into the scientific research. Very interesting to see. And so he's saying tough to have mass gatherings like concerts and ball games without a mass adoption of the vaccine or a means of signaling it. So, yeah, there you go. This is the dystopian moron. Fortunately, I think he'll only be limited in the Biden presidency to fixing roads, apparently, in the most pothole-infested state in the nation. Go figure that one out. But, so, yeah, he wants, he's pushing now for cell phones and things. Guys, I'll tell you, if they keep on doing this dystopian crap, I'm just doing away with my smartphone, okay? Now, fortunately, my smartphone doesn't run these Google services and things that allow you to do this kind of stuff, but nevertheless, guys, this is getting crazy when we're trying to tie in all of this information into the smartphone apps. And our final article here is that IMF report proposes credit scores based on web search history. So, yeah, we'll be doing a video here very soon. It's going to be right after the year, where we're going to be looking at the American credit score system. So keep an eye out for that video. It's in production right now, and we are looking at the best way to roll out that type of video. But moving into the new year, that's the type of stuff we're going to do, is a little bit more deep dives into a little bit more privacy-centered areas and being a little bit more cautious. So in this case here, International Monetary Fund has proposed basing credit scores of individuals and businesses based on their internet search history and purchases. So, I see that you buy a lot of unicorn meat. You must listen to Switch to Linux. Therefore, you're crazy, and so you need to go ahead and be monitored in this such way. And so this is what we're seeing here now is this push towards spying on any and every little thing. This is why it's so important to use privacy-focused search engines instead. Use things like Startpage, DuckDuckGo, and just stop using Google and Yahoo and Bing and all these big ones. So saying on the back of a working paper looks like a potential future of financial technology, fintech. 4 researchers presented their findings, which highlight that traditional banks face serious competition from social media and other digital platforms in the credit and payment sector. By the way, Facebook's recommended putting a component into the FICO credit score based upon the people that you know. Like, if you're connected to people who have low credit scores, that should impact your credit scores. One of the things Facebook argued for a while. So this is actually something that's not brand new, but this is the first time we see it coming out of a financial industry rather than a social media company. One such way to propose combat from this threat is the likes of Google, Apple, and Facebook is through new ways of collecting data information on customers to determine their credit worthiness. They resolve, quote, fintech resolves the dilemma by tapping various non-financial data, the type of browser and hardware used to access the internet, the history of online searches and purchases. Oh, you're using Linux, that you're a hacker. Research, quote, recent research documents that once powered by artificial intelligence and machine learning, Skynet will cause a nuclear, no, excuse me, let me go back to the quote. Once powered by artificial intelligence and machine learning, these alternative data sources are often superior than traditional credit assessment methods that can advance financial inclusion. No, anytime you start adding machine learning and artificial intelligence, what you see is an increase in radical dystopian nonsense. The machine spits out a number and you're not allowed to override it. But this is nothing new. This is the 0-1 pass-fail, zero tolerance, rules-based things that governments, school districts, for example, are trying to implement and have been trying to implement for a long time. You do this, this is the period consequence. It doesn't matter any purpose or cause. That's a dangerous world to be living in when a computer spits out that number. We've already been badly crippled by the overuse of a FICO credit score. Somebody goes in and sits down at the bank and the bank looks at one number and says, nope, you're done. There's danger to that. There's more factors involved in a person missing a payment than a computer number can possibly tell you. And that's important things. Overall, while much of the technological progress in finance is evolutionary, its pace is accelerating fast. Fintech's potential to reach out to 1 billion unbanked people around the world and the changes in financial system structure that can induce can be revolutionary. So they're basically looking at the things that we use to connect to the internet, what we do on the internet, what we buy on the internet, and utilizing this as a means. So the article goes on, why is this so contentious? The idea of judging someone's creditworthiness based on their search history leads to an important question. Who will be entrusted to judge what searches are deemed favorable or unfavorable? Guys, have a system set up where you can use Tor for some of your internet searching. It's very important to do that. And I'll do some videos soon about doing that. I'm planning a Whonex video as well now that we have a capture card in the office. So I'm planning some Whonex stuff so we'll be able to see what we can do with that. So they say inevitably it will be a so-called impartial fact checkers who are anything but the label they go under, selectively twisting narratives to align with their pre-held political biases. In other words, you voted this way in the last election, therefore you're out. That's exactly what we're going to start seeing happen here. And that becomes a dangerous trend and a dangerous thread. So this is a serious thing to look out for. It's something that you might want to talk about, particularly if you go to town meetings, talking to politicians, and say, this is a dangerous and a bad idea. So let me know, guys, your thoughts on these various articles. Of course, if you want to help to support the channel, you can head on over to ExpressVPN. Use my affiliate code TLM.li/EV. It will help keep some of your search privates private. There you go, guys. As long as you're not logging into stuff over there, don't be like Ben Shapiro. You don't want Facebook tracking what you're going to be doing. Use ExpressVPN. Dude, once you've logged in, you've de-anonymized yourself to your computer. Okay, just a thought, Ben. Just a thought. But nevertheless, ExpressVPN is a good way of anonymizing a lot of your search engine traffic and other things that you do on the internet. You still have to use extra precautions, but those people that do need a VPN, ExpressVPN is one of the top VPNs, tlm.li/EV. Click up here to get on the Get Started button at the top of the screen. You can get 12 months of it for $100. You can get 6 months for $60 or a single month at $12.95. That'll help support the channel. I believe you can connect, is it 6 or 10 devices on theirs, I forget. So all of them keep on changing on me, and but it's still, you can connect multiple devices. So there we have it, guys. Thanks for coming along and hope that you enjoy switching to Linux. Thank you for watching this video from Switched to Linux. This channel would not be possible without the backing of the program supporters scrolling on the screen now. You can be a supporter at Patreon at patreon.com/TOMM or at thinklifemedia.com. I also want to thank the open source community who creates such excellent software that makes producing this show possible. Please remember to support your software communities. Thank you, and I hope that you enjoy switching to Linux.